Gosh, this one's going to hurt for Nissan. This is probably the last news Nissan needed to get hit with. Last month, remember, they just posted a $4.5 billion loss. It was the third worst in company history. Nissan's laying off 10,000 people globally, closing many plants, potentially selling their headquarters, and the overall workforce is going to drop double-digit percentage-wise. Now, sales numbers just came in a couple days ago, right? We're early July. So when Nissan reports quarterly, they just reported for Q2 a drop of 6.5%. We'll come back. We'll circle back to these sales here in a little bit. But this is the news that could absolutely cripple Nissan. Guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about car news just about every single day. If you enjoy car news as well as reviews, make sure to subscribe. This week I'm reviewing a Kia EV6 and a Volkswagen Taos. 443,000 engines. That's just the United States. I think it's 460, 470,000 if you include the Canadian side of things as well. We have an engine failure recall. Remember the big engine recall that happened about a year ago for Toyota? And I don't think this recall is done for Toyota. All right. I've still heard quite a bit of bad things on newer model year Tundras, for example, that would increase this 102,000 vehicle recall for the twin turbo V6 potential failures. But back to Nissan here, this outpaces that Tundra recall by fourfold. It's absolutely massive. This is over an engine cooling system that may lead to engine failure. Now, what vehicles does it affect? Again, this is just the initial recall. They can always expand this recall. 2019 to 2020 Altima sedans, 21 to 24 Rogues, 2019 to 2022 QX50s, and 2022 QX55s. These are all equipped with different variations of Nissan's VC turbo technology. We know that the Rogue has a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged VC turbo engine. Those other vehicles that we mentioned here, from the Infinities to the Altima, for example, those have the 2-liter VC turbo. Also, the new QX60 from Infiniti got rid of in 2025 and 2026 and no longer has a V6, which is a complete catastrophe in my opinion, which made the vehicle so good and well-rounded as a luxury vehicle. And they put the VC turbo in it and it just destroyed it. Okay. From a driver's perspective, from an NVH perspective, from a performance perspective. And also what made the QX60 very reliable was that V6. They threw it out because of emissions regulations. Well, ironically now, emissions regulations as of July 3rd, right, with the new bill that was just passed, emissions regulations are kind of being thrown out the window right now in the United States. Manufacturers are not going to get penalized for not meeting emissions standards. So Nissan needs to do everything possible to get rid of like the 2-liter VC turbo and the QX60 and get rid of these engines with other things as well. Okay, with anything else, right? I know that there's a new hybrid coming for Nissan, the Nissan Rogue next year. In the meantime, they're just going to keep putting VC turbos in it. The engine bearing may have defects that can lead to engine failure, increasing the risk of a crash. Dealers will inspect engine oil pan for metal debris and repair or replace the engine as necessary, of course, for free, because this is a recall. For vehicles with the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbo, if no debris is found during the inspection, dealers will replace oil pan gasket and engine oil and reprogram the engine control module, or the ECU, for vehicles with the bigger 2-liter VC turbo engine. If no debris is detected, dealers will just replace the engine oil. All right, well, at least you're getting a free oil change out of it, assuming you don't need to swap your engine out. If you own one of these VC turbos, hopefully you're just leasing it. I mean, these engines, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. All right, I don't mind driving them, but I've been hearing nightmares of reliability with these engines. Well, now at least they are recalled. But again, it's a very small sample set. 21 to 24 Rogues, all right? Just a few Altimas. You got to keep in mind most Altimas, don't have the VC turbo. It's like the SR grade, right? I don't even think they make any more on the Altima. They had it for a few years. Now, maybe they fixed it after 2022 on the 2-liter VC turbo, but still, I wouldn't touch this engine. A variable compression ratio, Nissan's the only one that does it. I think it took them about 2 decades to get it to the market after trying to engineer this. And from what I hear, even from engineers, it's a nightmare, okay, for reliability and for maintenance. So VC turbo, this is the last thing Nissan needed. All right, let's look at their sales. Now, I did kind of cover this in a separate video, but it was more like what's doing poorly. Nissan actually isn't doing that poorly in terms of sales, only down 6.5%. I mean, that's not good. Infiniti is a hot mess express, a dumpster fire, in my opinion. All right. Murano sales were up 116%, right? Because the previous model no one was interested in. They ramped up production. But the thing is with the Murano, there are nearly 1,200 Muranos in my area. That means these things are going to have to be discounted to the moon. Let me make sure I got 25 model year in here. All right. What does that still have us at? Still about 1,200. All right. We have 20, like, look at these price drops, $3,000. I mean, the Murano here's the problem. The Rogue and the Murano almost operate the same segment now. 2 midsize crossovers essentially with 2 rows of seats. All right. And the Murano, yes, it has a 9-speed auto VC turbo, the 2-liter VC turbo, which is better than the 1.5-liter VC turbo. But again, like, I would only lease this vehicle. I wouldn't put my cold hard cash on it. It's a good car. It's just, it is priced quite high. And fuel economy isn't good on these VC turbo engines either. I was pretty underwhelmed with not only the Rogues, but also the Murano's fuel economy. The Nissan Z's up. Well, that does not have a VC turbo. The Aria sales are up. The Pathfinder sales are up. The Kicks sales are up. I mean, I like a lot of Nissans. Okay, look at the Sentra. The Sentra is completely fallen off the map, but I have a feeling this is because the new Sentra is actually right around the corner. The Versa, really doing well, up 72% on the year so far, up 11% on the quarter. Altima, I don't know what's going to happen to this vehicle. It's been extended. Its life has been extended. They planned on canceling it altogether. Maybe they still might, but they need North American production because Nissan, in their infinite wisdom, they're like, oh, shoot, let's move all the Rogues back to Japan. It's cheaper to make them there than ship them across the world than to make them in Tennessee. Well, then the tariff situation happened. All right. And with the tariffs, Nissan's also in a very tough spot because apparently all their hybrid production and EV production until 2027, 2028, when they start making them in Camp Mississippi, the EVs. Anyways, all the hybrid production is going to be in Japan. All right, so they're going to get hit with tariffs on their hybrids, more than likely. Again, time will tell. And again, this is Nissan. They can't like make big changes fast. They don't have the money to do it. You know, their leadership has just changed. They have a new CEO, and the new CEOs is like, okay, well, we need to cut costs. Let's close a few plants. Let's lay off thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. You know, our products will come out when they come out. Right? They don't have a lot of R&D, and maybe not even the suppliers to make hybrids in the United States anytime soon, which they should have been making. Remember, Nissan had hybrids like 10 years ago. The Murano actually had a hybrid in like 2015 or something, which is just crazy. All right, they had hybrids, they scrapped them, and they thought full EV was going to be the future. And obviously, I'm excited for the Leaf, but with no EV tax credit, and it's going to be brought in from Japan, the Leaf could be a tough sell. Here are my recommendations for Nissans to buy. Get a good lease deal on a Sentra or a Versa. Okay, I would even potentially buy with cold hard cash a Versa, potentially depending on what kind of deal I could get on one. All right, I would absolutely buy a Nissan Kicks or lease a Nissan Kicks. Really good fuel economy, fun to drive, lots of space, looks cool. Frontier is the best midsize pickup truck on the market with the big V6 in it, old school hydraulic feel, just a really simple and like well executed truck. It's better than the Tacoma, it's better than the Colorado, it's better than the Ranger, etc. It kicks butt. All right. Titan, rest in peace. Pathfinder also, love this vehicle. Or now that ironically, the Pathfinder kept the V6, but the luxury stablemate of this vehicle built, and you guys know it's on the same bones, the QX60, got rid of the V6 with the VC turbo, and the Pathfinder is like 20, 30 grand cheaper. I'd pick up a Pathfinder. You can find them for little money, like is it $32,000, for example. What I'm finding Pathfinders with $6 grand in discounts. Nissan Pathfinder, amazing vehicle. I'd pick this over Murano. I'd pick this over a Rogue, and at the price point, it's way cheaper than a Murano. Like, hello, the Murano's got no shot when the Pathfinder has a V6, has an extra row of seats, and costs less money and looks better, I think. I mean, I think the Murano has such kind of funky styling, and maybe some people like it. Pathfinder, there's a good reason it's up 30%. All right. Armada, one of the best vehicles. Guys, it's on my list for S tier. It's one of the best vehicles I've reviewed in 2025. I love the Armada. It's a better vehicle than pretty much all the Toyota new stuff on an F platform. It's better than a 4Runner. It's better than a Land Cruiser. It's better than a Lexus LX, except for the new LX Hybrid, which that costs like 130 grand or something. The Armada is amazing. It's really well done for a body-on-frame SUV. Rogue needs a hybrid 10 years ago. Murano, we already talked about that. So Nissan, actually, sales are not that bad, but Infiniti, this is where I get really worried. Q50 dead, Q60 dead. All right, QX50 and QX55 likely dead because of the plant down in Mexico where they make it. They stopped taking orders from it. They stopped producing actually the QX50 and 55 tariff situation. It's also a joint plant with Mercedes-Benz, where Mercedes makes, I think, the GLB down there. And I think there's a good chance that this plant could just be one of those that Nissan kills off with this restructuring plan that they have. QX60, again, was one of my favorite three-row crossovers in the luxury segment. Then they took out the V6, and then it took away what really made it so good. Now it just looks good, but it doesn't do anything that special. All right, it has a good sound system. It's comfortable, but it doesn't drive that great. It's comfy. Like, the ride quality is really, really soft for the most part, but it just does not handle worth a damn. And for a luxury car, again, I'm comparing it to luxury cars, and the VC turbo and is atrocious. And then the QX80 is fantastic, right? It's based off the Armada. Look at the sales here. Sales are good on the QX80. The problem is these things are about $100,000, okay? And I like the styling of the Armada better, and the Armada does, it does 99% of the same stuff as the QX80. It doesn't have air ride suspension or things like that, but that's okay because the Armada, where I'm at, I can't believe it's down 12%. The Armada is just so good, but maybe Nissan only has so much production, and they're like, hey, on the Infiniti side, they're kind of printing money with it, so let's apportion more of the production of the Armadas to QX80s while we're able to make a good profit on them. That's my wild guess. All right, there's no reason the Armada should be down as much as it is. 12% on the quarter and 7.5% on the year. I'm curious. There's 354 Armadas in my area, so that's actually a pretty decent amount. And gosh, for 57K, I know it's two-wheel drive, but 57K, an amazing buy. I love the Armada. It is fantastic. The problem is it's going against not necessarily the Sequoia and the Land Cruisers. Yes, it is. The problem is this is America, so it's going head-to-head with V8s from General Motors. It's going head-to-head with the Expedition and whatnot from Ford. So the competition in this segment, that's why Nissan even pulled out the full-size truck segment in the United States with the Titan. It's so cutthroat. There's just so much good competition with the large SUVs. But the Nissan Armada goes toe-to-toe with the domestics. Maybe not with size, but it is, I should say they extended like a Suburban. It can't obviously accommodate that much cargo, but it is such a good vehicle. They crushed it with the styling. The Pro 4X looks amazing. And this is one of my favorite vehicles on sale today. But the thing is, are people willing to spend 70, 80 grand, sometimes as low as under 60 grand on a Nissan? That's the struggle right now. On an Infiniti, there's a buyer that's like, well, at least I'm getting a luxury badge. All right. But again, the Infiniti is going to cost a lot more. So with nearly 500,000 recalls for the VC turbo engines here in North America, I mean, this is just kind of in line with all the terrible news that we've been hearing about Nissan for the last 2-3 years. They don't have the right product. On average, they're missing out on hybrids here in the United States. Ironically, they're going to have 2 EVs in their lineup that, they have to incentivize and lose money on. We'll see about the Leaf. We don't know what the pricing is going to be on that, but probably they're going to have to incentivize that because, again, the EV market it's going to cool off immensely or completely collapse. There's a potential the EV market could collapse in some unknown way because of the lack of a tax credit. We'll see what happens though. I don't want to say it's going to. I have no idea, but it could. It's not like it's going to go up. It's not like desirability for EVs is going to go up anytime soon. All right. And add insult to injury, their EVs are brought in from Japan. Meanwhile, there's no hybrids. They have no hybrids. The hybrids won't come out till who knows when. They say 2026, but guys, this is Nissan. I don't know if it will. All right. What I do know is that we get a plug-in hybrid of the Rogue this year, which is a rebadge of the Mitsubishi Outlander, which Mitsubishi Outlander sales are down right now. We're getting a new Sentra. We are getting an EV Xterra thing, not a gas Xterra. Don't know where the gas Xterra is. If Nissan had the Xterra with the V6, with the Frontier's V6, it was directly competing against the 4Runner. They might actually be crushing it right now because sales on the 4Runner are down, and people's interest in the 4Runner isn't what it used to be now that it doesn't have a V6. So Nissan just they're missing where the market is hot. They're missing hybrids. They're missing body on frame midsize. All right. They have the Armada. That's great. It's fantastic. But again, who's dropping $70K on a Nissan right now? But if they had a $40,000 4Runner fighter with a V6 in it, it would be printing money for them, as well as potentially their hybrids. But again, all their hybrids are likely to come from Japan when they start producing them, which adds to the tariff situation. I'm excited for Nissan's new products, but they're going to keep bleeding. All right. With news like this, it's again, not only a thorn in the side, it's like a complete stumble out of the blocks with them trying to turn this ship around. Now let's try to make a better analogy. Nissan for the last decade has been a ship floating in the ocean without clear direction. All right. They don't know where exactly they're going. They got a lot of cargo on board. And by the time the ship hits land, the cargo that they do have, the market there is not asking for those goods. All right. They're like, hey, we had this stuff 10 years ago. Why do we want this old moldy stuff coming over? There's a few good things in there, right? There's a few salvageable products, Pathfinder, Armada, Kicks, etc., right? The Frontier, the Z. But for every single good vehicle they have at least one questionable vehicle in their lineup, and then they're just completely missing segments as well, like the Xterra, and hybridizing their lineup. They're making it across the ocean without a clear destination, without really idea what kind of cargo they're having, while still plugging holes in the hull of the ship to stop it from sinking. And those holes are almost 500,000 engine recalls. Those holes are laying off tens of thousands of people. Those holes are also closing down all these plants in areas that just don't make sense to continue making Nissans because the market has dried up for them, whether it's because of lack of hybrids or maybe too many CVTs. I haven't even mentioned CVTs in this video yet. You guys love talking about the CVTs, or for whatever reason, right? There's a lot of different reasons that Nissan hasn't remained competitive in many markets around the world. All right. And I just heard news that Nissan will be exporting EVs from China. Obviously, they want to come to the United States, But their EVs, what is it called? The N7, something like that, from China starting next year. Is that going to help Nissan? No, absolutely not. It might help from the sales aspect in certain areas. I'm going to keep my hopes up. I can't wait to reveal the new Sentra for you in the coming, I can't say when, but by the end of this year, I'll reveal the new Sentra on the channel for you guys. Can't wait to drive the new Leaf. I can't wait to next time I review a Frontier, a Pathfinder, an Armada, a Nissan Kicks. I love all those vehicles. Nissan has some really solid gems, and the fact that they're still catering to the low end of the market with a Versa makes me happy. I'll see you in the comments. Do you guys have a magic bullet for Nissan's Gremlins? Obviously they don't. So time will tell. They need maybe Honda, right? Maybe Honda can come in and fix their issues, but Honda has their own issues too that they need to sort out with. All right, so it's not as simple as tying an anchor to Honda and hoping Honda can swim Nissan to a shore as the boat is sinking. All right, have a great day, guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.